Hey, this is Jay from the Financial UA General Service Office. Oh, let me get rid of this thing. There, that's much better. Hey, it's Jay from the Financial UA General Service Office located here in Baltimore, Maryland, and this is a global recovery alert. I want to say there's a certain illness, a pandemic, that is sweeping across the globe, and because of YouTube policy, I'm not allowed to say the name of that illness. But what we're going to do is refer to it with a nickname. We're going to use the name the cough. In today's video, we're going to talk specifically to our Financial UA members who are located in the United States and who happen to be registered taxpayers in the United States. The reason why is because the IRS and the US government are going to be releasing an economic stimulus check to each registered taxpayer in the United States. This stimulus check is going to start at $1,200, but we want to make this video to talk specifically about what does it look like from the Financial UA or really any recovery perspective. How do you deal with unexpected financial windfalls? How do you deal with money that comes to you unexpectedly, such as when you get a check from the US government? What do you do? Well, we're going to talk about that in today's video, so stay tuned. The focus of the video is going to be on what do you do when you get an unexpected windfall out of the blue, such as an economic stimulus check. What do you do when this money gets sent to you and suddenly you have $1,000 or maybe $3,000 that you never planned on having? What do you do when you receive money like this when you're in the middle of an economic or health crisis? Many Financial UA members do not handle prosperity when it comes to them suddenly. So we're going to offer this video to help you think through what your options are from a recovery perspective so that when you do receive these funds, you can utilize them in the most sober and prosperous manner possible. Before we start talking about finances and money and prosperity and economic stimulus checks and the cough and all these other things, I want to encourage you first to consider joining me with saying the prosperity prayer. And the reason why is because all of these things, the global health crisis, the global recovery alert, and also the possibility of receiving unexpected prosperity, these things can all be incredibly triggering for a member of Financial UA, and very likely also very triggering for any other person in recovery, as well as a lot of people who are just normal people living their lives. In order to create space for healing and recovery, I'd like to invite you to say the prosperity prayer with me, just to calm things down so we can address these issues from a place of spirituality and serenity. Let's do that prayer. God, grant us a serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, the wisdom to know the difference, and the prosperity to afford it. Thank you so much for being willing to say that prayer with me. Let's get started. The first thing I want to say is I want to wish every single member of Financial UA and really any other person in recovery who might be watching this video, I wish you the best of conditions. I truly hope you're able to take good care of yourself, that you're practicing really good personal hygiene, lots of personal self-care. Again, I tend to believe that people in recovery in times like these probably need to double their self-care. So whatever you're doing for self-care, I want to invite you to double that to the extent that you can, to take really good spiritual, emotional, and physical care of yourself. And if you are suffering from the cough, I hope you're able to take good care of yourself and get all of the help and treatment that you need. And I hope that it's able to happen in a speedy process, and I hope you're able to get back to health very, very quickly with full health. I also want to just encourage people in general, again, to practice good hygiene. And these suggestions are not affiliated with anybody. It's just good practical measures in these times. To whatever degree you can, I would encourage you to practice any kind of facial respiration protection, protecting your face, your breathing as much as possible by whatever means is most available to you. I also want to encourage you to use whatever cleaning supplies you can to disinfect your surroundings and anything with which you might come into contact. Again, whatever you can do on a practical level to take care of yourself, I want to encourage you to do that. On a spiritual and psychological level, I want to encourage you to remember that in times like these, people in recovery have a tremendous advantage because we already know how to live life one day at a time, just like we practice our recovery one day at a time. It's helpful to compartmentalize your life into one day at a time boxes. People who struggle with large, complicated situations emotionally seem to do better when they can break their day down into 24-hour boxes or even 6-hour boxes or 1-hour box. Whatever you can do to break your life down into smaller pieces that are manageable, where you can set a goal for yourself and work towards reaching that goal instead of thinking about the big picture. Because when you think about the big picture, oftentimes people can get afraid and overwhelmed, and it can be very triggering sometimes. But if you learn how to break things down into small pieces, it's a lot easier to get through 1 hour or 6 hours or 24 hours one day at a time than to try to think too far ahead and get yourself too worked up over nothing. So, a certain amount of reasonable planning for the future is all good, but emotionally it's even better to take it easy, to take it one day at a time, and do the practical things that you can to keep yourself healthy and to keep yourself safe. Now let's talk about how you can position yourself using the tools of Financial UA to come out on the other end of this much more prosperous than you were before. The U.S. Tax Relief Economic Stimulus Check, it starts off at $1,200 for each individual as long as their general income level is below $75,000 a year. If you happen to be married or filing jointly on your taxes with a partner, then your stimulus check will be $2,400, which is simply $1,200 times 2. So $1,200 for each person. And then for each child that you have, or each registered dependent that you have, the government will give you another $500. So the money can add up depending on your family situation, if you're single, if you're married, or in a tax partnership, or if you are in a family situation. You can start to calculate up what you can anticipate your stimulus check to be. Not that we're endorsing it, simply providing you the informational resource so you can go and look www.irs.gov/ and then the name of the illness, which we can't say, but which we will include in the description box down below. We'll give you the full website link so you can click onto that and look at it at your convenience. For this economic stimulus check, most people do not need to take any action in order to qualify to get this check. If you've already registered as a taxpayer, you are automatically registered to get the check. These checks are going to first be sent out to the people who have already submitted their 2019 tax form. So if you've already done your taxes for 2019, you'll be one of the first people to receive this stimulus check. If you've already registered your bank account, if you anticipated receiving a tax refund to be direct deposited to your bank, you'll also be one of the first people in line to receive the economic stimulus check because the money will be sent through direct deposit directly to your bank account. So now let's talk about what happens when you receive that money. Now, money is a very triggering subject, and prosperity is incredibly triggering, especially for people who don't have the emotional and spiritual foundation to stay serene, to remain sober, and to stay grounded when that money comes to them. If you're able to stay spiritually sober, then that money is just a matter-of-fact sort of thing. But if a person is not financially sober, then that money's going to hit them like they won the lottery. And so we actually have a video from Financial UA about what happens when people have to face cash and prizes. Meaning when they're in Financial UA and they're getting recovery and then suddenly the cash and prizes start to flow in, what happens to the mindset of people in recovery? If you're interested in seeing that video, I want to encourage you to click this link right up here to see the video on cash and prizes. Now it's time for our 7th tradition. Every Financial UA meeting ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. There are no dues or fees for Financial UA membership. All of our meetings and workshops are completely free to attend, both over the phone and face-to-face. Please keep in mind that we do have expenses, such as covering the cost of our website, developing new literature, and maintaining our service office. If you would like to make a 7th tradition donation, you can click the PayPal link below or visit our website at financialua.org and click the donate button. You may also support this program by purchasing a copy of our Financial UA 12-step workbook or our Financial UA 12 Traditions workbook. Also, you can help us carry the message by subscribing to this channel, and even by sharing this video with your sponsor or your sponsee. Lastly, please consider clicking that like button and giving us a big thumbs up for service. Money or prosperity of any type can be very triggering. Oftentimes, people in Financial UA struggle with receiving money. That's one of our symptoms called prosperity deflection. So this video is just as much about the symptom of prosperity deflection as it is about the wonderful opportunity to receive unexpected money. A lot of Financial UA members struggle with handling money appropriately. Oftentimes they get triggered and they go on a money drunk. Again, just like lottery winners, often they lose consciousness, basically. They have a blackout, so to speak. They go on a money drunk, and then months or years later, they come out of the drunk to see all the financial wreckage they've created. Well, we want to encourage you not to let that happen to you. And we want to give you a whole bunch of information in a positive, recovered way to help you see what the disease looks like, what typical people would do with that money, and also what very active addicts in their disease would do with that money. And then we're going to talk about what a recovered person might do with that money if they wish to do so.
God grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, wisdom to know the difference, and the prosperity